Hey everybody, today I'm going to attempt to make a short video about my experiences with visiting Oak Island in Nova Scotia, Canada. Now most of you are probably familiar with the hit TV show on History Channel, The Curse of Oak Island. It's been on for about 8 years now. It's a great show, I absolutely love it. So I'd like to flash back to September of 2019. It was a pretty depressing time for my brother and I, as we'd recently lost our mother after a year-long battle with cancer. I decided it would be a good time to dust myself off and take a little trip and see if I could get myself out of this depression I was in. So I made a few phone calls and booked a flight, bought a couple new outfits, and off I went. I was on my way to Nova Scotia. I was going to go visit my dad for a week. I was going to go see if I could get onto Oak Island and possibly stop into New Brunswick and visit good friends of mine, Dave and Jamie, that I hadn't seen in, had to be 15 years or so. Now, at the time of my trip, I knew it would be impossible to tour the island because the yearly tour date tickets sell out so notoriously quickly that there was just no way that I'd be able to get one. So I figured if I at least got to Nova Scotia, Dad and I could drive down to the island and visit the Interpretive Centre, which is the first building you come to when you cross the causeway onto Oak Island. And I figured we'd tour that, look at some of the artifacts that were found, and grab a few souvenir knickknacks, call it a day. And that there alone would be enough to put me on cloud nine, just to say that I had stepped foot on Oak Island. So after booking a couple flights, off I went. I flew from London to Toronto, Toronto to Fredericton, and Dave and Jamie were kind enough to come and pick me up in Fredericton. We went back to their place, and I spent a couple great days with them, catching up on old times. Got to visit with Mars Bar, their cute little dog. And we had just a really good time catching up. Unfortunately, they didn't have any shows booked during the time that I was there, but that's all right. I had a great time visiting with just them, and it was a really good time. But after a couple days, it was time to carry on and head to Oak Island. So after visiting with Dad for a couple days, we decided we were going to head over to Oak Island and just see what we could see. So it was only about a 25-30 minute drive from his place in near New Germany over to the island itself. It was a nice little drive over there. The first shot you're going to see is in the car, Dad and I crossing the causeway into Oak Island. The Interpretive Centre is there on the left, and I'm not sure if you can see it in the first picture, but there's a little memorial stone to the right. The next shot is a better shot of the memorial stone. It's the Oak Island Memorial, and it memorializes the 6 people that have lost their lives so far or died trying to find the treasure. Legend has it 7 must die before the treasure can be found, if you believe it. There I am, standing, looked like somebody that had just escaped from a chain gang on the side of the road, with a bright orange t-shirt and a pair of track pants. But I had to get a snapshot of myself with the memorial stone. And then we look over to the Interpretive Centre, and for those that watch the show, you'll remember seeing the episode with William Shatner visiting the island. Him and the whole Fellowship of the Dig all gathered here along the porch of the Interpretive Centre behind the sign. Then we go inside the Interpretive Centre, and the first couple things that we see are the Respect the Legend sign and a brief overview, and it's just giving you a brief history of the island itself. The next picture we come to is a representation of the 90-foot stone. It's not the original one. The original stone has been lost over time, as I'm sure you're probably aware. But this is a replica of the 90-foot stone and the engravings that were found on it. Beside that, you'll find an old mining car that we can just assume was used to haul ore either on or off one of the ships or galleons that had visited the island. Then we get to the lead cross. Now this is probably the most famous artifact that they found on the island. It was found by Gary Drayton in Smith's Cove. I believe Rick Ladina was with him when he found it. And it's dated to be quite old, and they're speculating that it has Templar connections. Whether that's true or not, I guess we will never know, but certainly all signs are pointing that way. The next slide we get to is an old brooch that was found on the island. I'm not really sure what else to say about it. It's just a lady's decorative brooch. Then we get to a Victorian portrait brooch, and what's neat about this is if you're able to zoom in on the picture, you can actually make out the lady's face that is in the picture on the brooch. So this is something that probably a wealthier or more to-do person would have had way back in those times. And just to think that it was lost on the island and it sat there undisturbed for all beside that, there's just a wide selection of old buttons and coins that have been found on the island. My dad crossing, or then we get to my dad standing beside one of Daniel Blankenship's wetsuits, and there's a portrait of Daniel Blankenship there as well. And just to think that this man put on this suit and went down the borehole 10X that he created himself is just incredible. Like the danger he put himself through to try and solve this mystery is absolutely incredible. And I'm glad to be a small part of it, even if it's just visiting the island and taking in these artifacts at a later date. If I was a younger man and I'd known about it in time, I would have loved to have been part of it, but unfortunately those weren't in my cards. Then beside that, we get to a borehole drilling sample. I'm not sure if this is one of the more recent ones. I'm guessing it's probably going to be one of the ones that Dan Blankenship had done before the Laginas got involved. Just looking at it, it looks really, really old compared to the newer ones that we see on the show all the time. And then we get to an aerial shot of the island, and it's really neat to see the causeway and how long that causeway is from the mainland to the island, and how much work that must have been for them to create that. And just the shape of the island, and where you can see where the swamp is, and how it looks like it may have been two islands, especially along the shoreline. If you go into the water a little bit, you can see where it looks like it's really deep in the middle of the base of that triangle, and where it very well could have been two islands and then filled in over years to make what is now known as the swamp. And then various buildings around the parking lot. I believe one is the information center house from Zena, all her research materials over the years. And then the last picture is me with my little bag of goodies sitting in front of the interpretive center sign once again, getting ready to leave the island. And it was just a great day. I wish I had had tours, but now that I've visited the island and have been to the interpretive center and just got a taste of it, that just lit the fire. Now I have to have tickets to go and see the rest of the island. I have to get tickets to tour this island. The fire has been lit. It has to be done. So sometime in January of 2020, the following year, after I'm back home in London, Ontario again, they announced the tour dates for 2020, and holy smoke, or holy schmoly, as Gary Drayton would say, there's actually tour dates for my 50th birthday on August 2nd. There's a tour in the morning and a tour in the afternoon. Now the tickets don't go on sale until, I believe it was the 12th or 13th of February. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but you're darn tootin', I'm going to be on there trying to get those tickets. So ticket sale day finally comes around, and they told us that they were going to be sold through an app called Eventbrite, and that tickets would be going on sale at 12 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, which translated to 11 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Time. And they were going on right at 11. They sell out notoriously quickly every year. In the previous years, they sold out in between 10 and 15 minutes. So I was all ready to go. At the stroke of 12, I had my friend Ian on his computer trying to log in. I was at his place on my cell phone trying to log in. And as soon as that clock clicked 11, I launched the app, went straight to my favorites because I had already gone in, pre-selected my date and time that I wanted to go, and flagged them as a favorite. So I got to skip a couple steps then. The next step was to select how many tickets I wanted. The maximum number you were allowed was 6. I selected 6 because I knew a couple friends wanted to come with us. And holy smokes, it looked like it was working. It locked in 6 tickets for me and gave me a counter and said that I had to have the rest of the application done within this time frame, or they would release the tickets back for sale. So the one thing I wasn't expecting was to have to enter each of my friends' email addresses. So I started to panic. So I'm typing in everybody's name, and I'm doing all the ones that I know the email addresses first, like myself, my brother, my dad. But then we got to my friend Ian and my friends Dave and my friend Jamie. So I just put in their names at gmail.com. I knew they weren't the right ones, but I figured as long as I got, as the ticket buyer had the right email address in, I figured it would be good enough. So I'm typing all this information in. I'm going like a madman on that little tiny keyboard on your iPhone. And all of a sudden it went to submit, and it confirmed. I did it. I got 6 tickets. I beat out tens of thousands of other people to get 6 tickets to Oak Island for August 2nd for the two-band show. I was elated. I was spending my 50th birthday on Oak Island, baby. Now this was all in February, and we all know what happened in March of 2020, COVID-19. So all spring and all summer, I'm waiting, I'm nervous, I'm biting my nails like crazy, going, are they going to cancel it? Are they going to cancel it? Finally, it gets to the end of June, first part of July, and they announced that they were just going to cancel the rest of the season. Up until then, they had canceled, okay, we're going to cancel May's, we're going to cancel June's. And they wouldn't go any farther than that because we all wanted to see how this pandemic was going to play out. But towards the end of middle of summer, they just said, no, we're done. The pandemic's obviously not going away, and we didn't want to take the chance. And who can blame them? I didn't want to get sick by going down there. Mind you, I would have been one of the few lucky enough people that I could have went down. I could have quarantined for the 2 weeks because my dad lives only 20 minutes from the island, so I could have quarantined at his house and then gone on and done the tour. But unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards, and I was absolutely crushed, to say the very least. Now, August 2nd rolls around, and all I could think of that day was, well, I'm supposed to be on Oak Island, so I was going to load up the History on Demand channel, and I was just going to make a marathon of it and watch it all day. And my brother comes upstairs, and he's got his cell phone in his hand, and he's got this giddy look on his face. And he's like, well, I know you were really disappointed that we were all supposed to go to Oak Island for your 50th birthday. He says, this isn't going to be just as good as going to Oak Island, but it might be a good runner-up. So then he passed me his cell phone and he hit play, and this is what I got.
Holy shamoly, Jeff! Gary Drayton here from the Fellowship of the Dig to wish you a Bobby Dazzler of a 50th birthday, mate. Congratulations. Now, I know it's sad news, mate. You were supposed to be having your birthday on Oak Island August 2nd with your brother Paul and your dad Wayne. So that stinky old virus put pay to that, I know, but fingers crossed, mate, you'll be on the island next year. Hey, and who knows, maybe we'll run across each other in Nova Scotia. I hope so, mate. Let's make that 51st even more special. So, mate, happy birthday to you, and all the best to your brother Paul and your dad Wayne. Happy birthday, Jeff. Have a top pocket of a birthday. Cheers, Gary.
Now that was a Bobby Dazzler of a birthday gift, let me tell you. I still can't believe that he did this, that he went and spent his own good money on the Cameo app and paid Gary Drayton to wish me a happy 50th birthday. That meant more to me than any other birthday present he could have given me, short of actually getting me on the island and meeting Gary in person himself. Maybe once this is all behind us, we'll be fortunate enough to once again get down there and get to the island and get some tour tickets and meet the guys. But if not, it's a damn good runner-up prize, I tell you. Thanks again, Paul. Love you, little brother. You made my day. You really did. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. Little side note, this is my first real attempt at editing together a YouTube video. I even went out and bought myself a little selfie stick with a Bluetooth remote just to make this video. Hopefully it'll get a lot more use in the future. My future videos are probably going to be more related to me picking up shopping carts and scrap metal. The channel name is Buggy Repo, and that is my little name for the venture that I have, where I do go out and for the last 8 years I've collected shopping carts for various stores around town. Now, I suffer from migraine, so I don't do it every single day. I can only go out when I'm feeling good enough to do it. But yeah, that's what I do. I pick up shopping carts that people steal from the stores, or I know they don't think of it as stealing, but they creatively borrow them to get their groceries home and then leave them abandoned wherever. Well, I'm one of the guys that goes out and picks them up and returns them to the stores. So keep an eye on my channel if you want to see some of the shenanigans I see while I'm out doing that kind of work. And I hope you liked my video. Don't forget to give it a subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll see you around the other side. Take care, everyone. Cheers.